So, hi, I'm Chris Howell. I'm the IT Director for Customer Systems at Dixons Retail. We're a family of brands spread across, predominantly Northern Europe. We trade online in around 26 countries, predominantly using our brand Pixmania. The curries from the UK you may be more familiar with are Currys, PC World and Dixons. So, today we're going to talk about why collaboration is important. And the reason I'm certainly very passionate about this is April of 2010, we launched, Dixons with eMerchant and Pixmania are kind of our partner organisations within the group, relaunched our entire platform. And in the last 18 months, we've actually delivered quite a lot of change. We've reworked our multi-channel delivery proposition. We've worked very hard at making sure that we give customers the right amount of information for reviews and ask an owner, and actually the product recommendations so that they know what is the best choice for them and helping them get the best out of their technology. We've reworked the user experience on the site 3 or 4 times over the last 12 months, trying to constantly improve and really mimic the transformation that some of you may have seen in our stores over that same period. And recently we've got to the point where we genuinely have a kind of fortnightly plan and program of continuous change, which is all great, but in reality customers want more, they demand more, and both my colleagues internally and the customers I speak to expect us to deliver more to them faster. And that's always been true, from a retail perspective, and certainly as an IT practitioner in retail. With the advent of the internet, everything needed to get faster. Everything got more complicated. It opened up many, many more avenues. We could rely on much, much better data. We started to talk genuinely about a personalised shopping experience, really getting to know the customer and making sure that they had the recommendations that they needed and we could really inform their choices. And the speed and the pace at which we have to move is very much increasing. So before I joined Dixons, I was at Tesco.com, and I remember 4 or 5 years ago, we used to do 2 major releases a year. So effectively, major propositional change once every 6 months. And the thought of doing weekly changes to the proposition was only done when we had a major problem. Now, and even so 3 years ago, just before I left Tesco.com, we'd got to the stage where we were doing fairly substantial change once every 4 to 6 weeks, predominantly on their Tesco Direct platform, and we'd started to get the sense of continuous improvement, or 2 or 3 weeks where we would do little things just to improve the experience, before the advent of multivariate testing where we could really drive those things in real time. And now we've got, we get quite a lot done every 2 weeks, but practically the customers and my senior stakeholders certainly want everything every week. And the first conversation when you're talking about a major propositional change, so for example, if you wanted to build a pay and collect model, so you're really joining up those multi-channel experiences between online and stores, the opening gambit from any of your stakeholders is 3 months, 12 weeks, 13 weeks, which given the pace at which IT departments historically used to be able to move, has really forced us to think about how we can go faster. So before coming, I thought about the last 12 months and actually where within our organisation did we have some examples of moving at the pace at which we hope customers expect, but certainly the pace at which the organisation we demand of ourselves. And there were 2 things that sprang to mind. In August of last year, a group of us got together and started pulling together the strategy for Know-How, which was the replacement of our Tech Guys service brand. We wanted to extend it out from just laptops and computing and actually encompass all the technology that we sell to customers. And we spent 6 to 8 weeks debating the strategy, working on the brand principles and identifying where we needed to go. And we briefed the teams on October the 17th of last year that we were going to launch in March of the following. And I vividly remember a room not dissimilar size to this, filled with the IT department, and asking them if they'd raise their hands if they believed we could get it done by September. And it was like, brilliant. Everyone had their hands up. I also asked them whether or not they believed we could do it before July, and I got about half the room. I didn't ask them whether or not they really thought it was capable of doing it for March. But actually, what we proved is that we could turn that around in 6 months. And the way it was done, none of it is rocket science, but it was collaborating within the organisation. So it wasn't just about IT. It was about making sure that you had all of the right teams with all the right stakeholders. And, collaborating doesn't mean all getting on or all agreeing. You had all of the right people in the room to have a really, really good discussion, call it an argument if you like, so that what you ended up with was a proposition that was deliverable and the essence of the brand which we really wanted to offer. And that has been a great win for us internally, because our colleagues now believe that they can go faster. Certainly as an IT department, they're walking around with a little bit more pride on their face, and they really, really believe. The other one, and this is collaboration on a much smaller scale, is our Dixons in the Know Twitter feed. Now, a lot of people were getting online, were doing the social media piece, were starting to interact with customers and showing how fast you could really build your relationship with customers. But as an organisation, we were a little bit behind the curve. Dixons in the Know was one guy who has since moved on to other things, actually. It was one guy who passionately believed in it. So he just started to do it. And he managed to find a couple of other people in the contact centre. He was based in the retail support office in Howell. And the 3 or 4 of them gradually built this presence to the extent that now our exec look at this, learn from this, and it's giving us really, really useful insight on how we can do better for customers. And that, for me, breaks down into 2 aspects of collaboration that are important. The first one is the Dixons in the Know piece, is the innovation, is effectively your ability to anticipate. So as an individual, be it like myself, an IT practitioner, I'm sure many of you work in either marketing, commercial, other e-commerce functions, or IT. Actually, the ability to anticipate the idea or the next thing that's important for customers gives you a tremendous advantage if you can react because you've already thought about it. Now, for me, the way I do this is mainly through all of the people I talk to, and I do break them out into kind of 4 spaces. There's the stuff that I do personally, so my friends, my colleagues, my ex-colleagues. That funny logo in the middle is something called the Fantastic Tavern, which is a group of people who like to have beer and talk about digital customer experience, actually. And we meet once every 6 or 8 weeks and debate the latest trends and try and apply those. But then, you get the partner space. So we were at Adastral Park with BT, looking at the innovation that they're doing. And interestingly, if you look at the way that they've changed the way that they approach innovation over the last 10 years, historically Adastral Park was BT. Now it's BT plus very many vendors, and they work together to move that technology forward. And I think they've got a really coherent story in terms of where they're going. We've got a good relationship with EMC Consulting, and recently, especially in the review space, we've been working with Review on our Ask an Owner and improving our products and recommendations. Internally is very important. So the relationship that we get within our group, certainly between Dixons and eMerchant, which we operate as a group, but very much trying to, with a healthy tension in terms of who's got the right ideas about who's going forward, and then industry events like today. So I hope some of you have got some interesting stuff out of wandering around today. The second piece is the ability to execute the idea, so getting all the right people in the room. And experience is the extract of suffering. There are people who have done it before, and I think what's very, very powerful for me, and certainly something that I wouldn't have ever considered when I moved across to Dixons, was that in the last 6 months I've been able to debate the right way to solve a problem with Carrefour, who we compete with in a number of different territories around Europe, and actually being able to debate and work those challenges with people who you might consider competitors, because we're all trying to solve the same problem. We don't all have the same cash options, team options, or space in the program to execute all of these ideas at the same time. But with a given set of ideas, working with people who've done it before, especially in a retail space, gives you a real leg up and an advantage in terms of the chance of your success in the way that you're going to execute your craft. And that for me is how certainly we as an IT department with Dixons, and I think Dixons as an organisation, is looking to continually speed up our innovation. It is through collaboration with our partners, with our suppliers, and with our customers, but a lot of that we can do internally for ourselves. And actually, the partnership, the partner space, collaborating with customers, all of that is fantastic, and it's a really good story. There's a lot of theory about how collaboration is the most effective way to innovate, and it brings you through. But when you look at the way internally a lot of organisations work, the first and most important step that a lot of organisations, and certainly ours, needed to take was we had to work better at how we collaborate with ourselves. So the old divisions of IT and the business, or marketing and commercial, they don't always agree, but actually forcing through and unifying people around a single purpose, and that incidentally is the first Qin emperor of China, who went to war on his competing tribes to unify them into a single country, which I'm not suggesting you do, but that is critical, because if you don't think collaboratively in the way that you behave and the way that you operate within your business, if you don't bring those ideas to the table to be debated and put into play in terms of the strategy planning or at a steering group, regardless of whether or not you're an IT guy, a marketing guy, a commercial guy, we're all customers. We all have a view. We all have access to many, many different sources of innovation, and that is what's absolutely critical in reacting to the pace of the retail market and driving through to a winning strategy, which means that we can deliver to our multi-channel customers. And I have rushed that a little bit because I know I was late, but that is in essence what I was going to talk about. So that increasing importance of collaboration internally with your partners, with your friends, with your ex-colleagues, is what will make the difference ongoing in the way that we continue to innovate and deliver to our customers. Any questions?